Now, so to speak, we're about to witness all the glitz and glory going to only one of the teams available, and one would have to sit out for this Open Finals.
And one thing that we can be sure is we will not see Joy ever again. That hero is getting axed out 100% in the first phase.
You know what it really reminds me of? When Uranus used to be that broken hero where you just couldn't really take him out of the battle. This time, Joy's literally going to be exactly the same. You distract everybody on the side lane, and you just have advantages across your map. Like, you make your team enable a 2-win condition into most of all these courses of the battle. And now, moving into the draft, ALVA 8 starts off with a 1-1 ban.
And ALVA 8 definitely didn't expect to be in this position. Well, considering that they had such a breeze in game 1, you can definitely feel a bit more tension in the room. Whereas if you're swinging esports, I think you got the dream comp in game 2. I feel like to a certain extent, ALVA 8 gifted them that composition. We're probably going to expect that reset, right? If you're also esports right now, you're looking for potential Joy ban. The rest should be the same, 1-1. I don't think Farmis is a big issue. I don't think Moskov is a big issue. I think from what we've seen, maybe the Melissa deserves a bit more attention because even in the previous series, Melissa has been a big condition for a lot of these games.
Yeah, and it's just being led through for most part, where you see amplification damage coming in from the back line, and she's just going to be able to run through a majority of all these players if it was being left unattended. But most often than not, we see even the Martis being that core pick coming in from Sway Esports, where ALVA 8 also really has to take into consideration that, this jungler has been running around Rosie as Cavs goes undefeated, not being able to even get their hands onto this Martis, and he's been able to have such a stellar game. And we're hoping to see the same thing happen once again for Cavs.
And I think that Martis now is going to start moving up that hierarchy of top heroes to pick, because I think it is giving a lot of impact in that jungle. You have a hero that is not easy to kill off. He ignores crowd control. He has an execute that resets, on takedowns.
Yeah, the Decimate is just so lethal.
Very, very high value in the coming games. I think it's great to finally see Martis on the board. It's something that our friend Terrace has been preaching since last week, and it's great to finally see it being displayed a bit more often. So Esports going for the Valentina ban. ALVA 8 actually playing it safe. They take out the Farmis.
Yeah, I mean, it's been pretty pesky as well on how they've chose to handle certain situations, and you don't want all these efforts to really go to waste where you've just blown out every single ultimate and you still couldn't really take them down due to this farm. It's still left intact. Now the 8 has got core decisions to make. They still have to get rid of this Kaja. And now, pressure onto Sway Esports to see what do they really want to leave open for ALVA 8. We've seen Glue being banned out throughout the course of the series, and perhaps they should want to go for another go where ALVA 8, they needed something that's a little bit more disruptive and someone to be able to gel the enemies all together. And perhaps that is one pick that they want to take out, but they still have other things in mind where we've seen, a little bit more priority on the side lanes with what we've seen so far. Benedetta being one of the bans that they go to.
I bet the discussion right now happening is, do we want to ban Joy? Or do we want to let Joy go? Right? We have seen what we can do with Joy in game 2, and while they let the Joy through once more, so Esports tend to kind of take a gamble at this. ALVA 8, are you tempted to take the Joy? And if so, of course they are tempted. What is Sway Esports' answer to this? Surely they have an answer.
I believe that Sway Esports is about to school this Joy overall because they had this whole preparation going on for them. So what exactly is the answer? You basically need lots of crowd control, enough burst damage to be able to deal with this Joy that can be, if left unattended, just going to be having a lot more room to breathe throughout the course of the battle. So expect Sway Esports to eventually look for a camp on towards the lane, and there you go.
There it is.
A Franco just to basically lock her in place.
Yeah, if you have two heroes that can disrupt the Joy, if she decides to dash in and play disruption like the pesky feline she is. You have that Ashura to knock her aside. You have this Franco to basically use that Bloody Hunt to lock to kind of pin her down. That is if you get on top of the Joy, which we have seen is not easy, and it's definitely not getting any easier when you have the Atlas and the Eve. Big combo coming through. If you want to stand still and try to grab the Joy by the tail, you gotta be ready to get linked up and dragged back into this real world manipulation. So there's a lot of potential from ALVA 8.
I see a huge commitment from ALVA 8 to really commit into team fights, and I wonder, can they actually get that clean execution, especially now you have the clock to deal with as well. Like, you can easily just move away, just dash outwards, and then maybe return to the battle with the Blazing Duet. So if it's a 5v5 they want, Sway Esports is going to deliver with their own 5v5 setups as well. Of course, pressure is on when you do have Franco on the line, so this Eve really has to find a way to keep herself safe.
Yeah. And fun fact is that, for those who might not know, you cannot actually cancel the Eve ultimate with your Iron Hook anymore. You used to be able to, but now she just continues using it. So yeah, that's a bit of a bummer if you are any Franco players. She doesn't need to take Purify or whatever anymore. Normally you take Sprint anyways. Kind of a minor safety net for this hero. So Esports though, betting up the Archive, definitely need to get rid of that jungler. There's enough disruption from ALVA 8. I do think that this opening for ALVA 8 is so much more solid. Again, the Benedetta ban. There's still the Farsa online, I suppose. If you want to really, if you really want to be able to kind of burst your target, but then again, you have this Joy running around. So there are layers of consideration if you are Sway Esports.
True enough. As for Sway Esports, we're still looking to secure themselves some EXP lane that's going to be able to hold out against this Joy. And I started to wonder, like, with them taking out Ling, which, hasn't been much of a priority in the majority of all these series. ALVA 8 does not just need to rely on Atlas to really go in for those huge pickoffs when it comes down to these battles. It still needs somebody that's beefy enough to withstand certain damages, especially with what Caps has offered early on. Now they get their hands onto Glue, so Sway Esports, they're just looking to break wall the rest of ALVA 8.
Of course, the final pick is going to be that mid laner. Sway Esports kind of shifting that responsibility over to Barbie Chi. Right? In game number 2, he has been instrumental on that Farsa. And now they have a chance to pick that Farsa again. It really comes down to what ALVA 8 has in mind. Still the jungler and an XP laner, still that jungler and the marksman that they have yet to reveal. Melissa is still on the board, and they picked the Hanzo. Okay.
I really didn't expect this. I mean, who's he expecting to catch? Or is this going to be a backdoor Hanzo that we're going to be expecting on the side lanes? Well, now to even commit with Brody, I see huge damage amplification coming from ALVA 8. But if they don't really get the right resources, then it could be pretty much difficult for them to actually get back to the game. But mind you, you would see this Hanzo to have smooth transition when it comes down to jungling across, where you can just basically gobble up a buff very instantaneously. So perhaps their idea here is to deny more of these resources coming from Sway Esports very early on, and then they will basically punish them all throughout.
Yep. Can you catch a shadow? Sway Esports going to answer that question, and I do think that this Hanzo, in the right conditions, will be able to outpace the Smartest, like you mentioned, right? Kind of gobble up those buffs to really just outmaneuver the Smartest. Farsa eventually comes through for Sway Esports, but ALVA 8 in the deciding game pulls out something that I don't think we've seen for a very, very long time, but it's fitting for the final deciding game of this lower bracket series. Again, ALVA 8 against Sway Esports, Indonesia on one side, Philippines on the other. Let's see how this pans out.
There we go. The final hoorah for either side of the party to make their way into the grand finals of the Open Finals bracket. We're seeing a push comes to shove. ALVA 8 pushes it to 5th gear, or if they have 8 gears, I mean, yeah, propel forward as fast as you can. let's take a look at some stats coming from Kevs. This guy has got impeccable KP throughout the course of the battle, and thanks to his perfect KDA from the past round, they've been able to seek things out. Oh, break even. Oh, he flickers away, but he's just one hit away. Jirachi will be punished instead, and he's going off course. This will be first blood for Sway Esports.
Oh my goodness, break even. One hit away. You can't even see his health bar. Walks out alive. First blood goes over to Sway Esports. Disaster if you're ALVA 8.
And that was supposed to really working out in favor of ALVA. Just needing that one hair strand of that auto attack. And doesn't get it. And all thanks to a reactive flicker as well. Of course, Break Even won't be able to rely on that later on to play a little bit more offensively on this Franco. But when you take a look at Vinsmoke, we did see a little bit more pressure being put onto Break Even as well. This Brody will be able to have ample of that safety net. So this Clot, I believe that, you know, it's just typical goal lane things where it's just going to be having a farm fest going on. So attention will be drawn towards the top side of the river as the turtle is currently being spawned up. As Sway Esports set their side to eventually secure it, but there's not really all too much of a retaliation coming from the side of ALVA 8. RBG is going to be able to reposition very quickly, and now they spot out this shenanigan going on.
Did you drag Vinsmoke under the turret, get a kill? Kev easily uses Retribution to secure the turtle, so far so good for Sway Esports. Not the starter you want to look for if you're ALVA 8. You know, just now we saw Jirachi trying to attempt, you know, a potential kill in the Barbie Chi, but it's the far side, right? He just turns into a avian and get away. You know, Haroski is also not the easiest target to take down. Jirachi has to expend the ultimate. Ziguru just gonna keep healing up.
Yeah, and overall, other than, of course, Jirachi being, you know, semi-tank, semi-marksman.
What a drag!
Oh my word.
What a drag. I mean, this is just best case scenario.
Break Even is just flexing his muscles like, my goodness, like he got away from death itself. And now going for another pick. This is where he might not stand a chance anymore.
Better airstrike. Taking out, at least forcing CN back. Caps comes in, Arishiki tries to go for a backflip, able to get out of it. Jirachi shows up. Back up isn't that, Jirachi. You gotta be really careful. Don't get locked down. Haroski is around as well. Break Even getting jumped on. Jirachi forced to use the Vengeance. Caps not able to clip him with that pair of scissors. ALVA 8 able to escape.
And great coverage coming from the rest of Sway Esports as well. Just wrapping out the entirety of that river to really force ALVA 8 off. And great timing on the Fairgrade airstrike as well. CN just walks away with a slither of health on the Shadow itself. Now, ALVA 8 really's got the focus on getting resources back into this game because they're already having 2K of a deficit early on. Picks after picks, and it's really down to this finesse being shown by Break Even. Every single hook has resulted onto something at the very least, or it really startles ALVA 8's tempo where they really want to respond. Do I commit to my member being pulled off, or should I just, you know, let him be? We'll just carry on forward, and our turtle up.
There's only one guy that you don't really want to hook, and that's the Atlas. But I mean, before that, he just gets absolutely destroyed.
Yeah.
So it's just no. Even your tank now doesn't want to get hooked, and it's gonna be a bit of a problem.
And keep in mind, like, there's not really too many designated tanks in this game other than Vinsmoke. So other members being a little bit more of a glass cannon, I would say, it wouldn't really offer too much in retrospect. ALVA 8 challenging.
Try to steal this turtle, but no, Caps just a bit more accurate with that retribution. He does give his life up, but a bigger price was paid. Aaron Shiki gets caught down bot.
Oh boy, 1-for-1 exchange. I guess like ALVA 8 will take whatever is necessary as he did not manage to secure themselves that turtle. So Esports just doing so much pressure across the map, and now Jirachi really's got to hang in tight towards this turret. Barbichi just slowly floats away. Typical of Farsa things where you just get a little bit more of that map pressure going on. And that's how Sway Esports have been able to garner all these advantages. Just keep on distracting ALVA 8, slowly chip some of the damage onto all these objectives.
Yeah.
And then after that, you just look for those openings to commit to it. Like,
And as a Joy, you want to be able to kind of dash around the map, but if you are restricted in terms of movement, it does get very suffocating. So ALVA will be able to secure the top tier 1, and even as a crew, there are limitations of how much punishment Haroski can take. So Esports turning attention to the bottom tier 1, they really want that turret, and they should be able to get it.
6-minute mark, and we're already seeing Blade of Despair being built up by Kevs while we have an ISP1 for Iliora. At least they're keeping up to speed, though they are slowly starting to look for an opportunity of their own, diving onto Haroski, but it doesn't seem like it is a clean-cut access. And look at the rest of Sway Esports, they're swarming through mid.
Uh-oh, the Hanzo, well, he's safe, though his real body is way behind the turret. That's a good thing. At least for now, when you still have that mid-tier 1 up. But Vinsmoke, yeah, he's going to get checked. And with Cavs around, that's not the target you want to go for either. Break even! Iron Hook, Flicker, better airstrike, and the tank is gone. Real manipulation. Used up. Jirachi straight to the back line. Barbie G is the target, but I mean, they just completely quell this Joy. Jirachi cannot even run around.
Look at the impact of this Franco. 5 participation. And we're looking at a total of 6 picks overall.
Yeah.
This guy is just styling on to ALVA 8. And sometimes you just underestimate a pick like Franco because like you've seen it everywhere. You think that, hey, I could dodge that Iron Hook. And now they're looking for more.
Oh, Break Even, how did you miss that point blank hook? Aaron Shiki still can't get away, but Break Even will give his life up. Cavs is still in the fight. Barbie Chi getting ran down by Jirachi. Can they get this Farsa out? They cannot. Jirachi finds it, and Cavs, he might go down as well. No decimate this time, so Esports gets punished.
Yeah, that was too deep of a dive. I don't believe they could basically walk away scot-free. ALVA 8 at least getting a little bit of something in return, but still a lot of catching up to do, right? Still very much doable, but they need to assess a few situations right here.
Look at this. Look at this hook.
Yep. 2 members right there. It's really sad to see.
Yeah,
okay.
It's one of those moments you just outsmart yourself.
There are times where you think too much and you predict that, hey, they're going to try to dodge my hook, and they're like, okay, we're just going to casually stay right there.
Sometimes, you know, it's not a bad idea to autopilot. You know, that's all I'm saying. Uh-oh, Break Even. It's fun by the Atlas, drag back by the Fatal Link, just out of range of the real manipulation though. And a Fatal Airstrike as a response to that. Break Even.
Jirachi
destroyed by the torn apart memory. Jirachi now accesses the backline. No one to lock him down. This Joy can finally run wild. They do root her down, but it doesn't really matter. No damage from Sway Esports.
Just look at how ridiculous it is. With 2 members out there, they're definitely not going to be committing into that. Vinsmoke now getting a little bit beefier with some items being displayed. But then again, I really feel like there is a lot more that they need to really do in order to have that perfect setup of a combo where you want the Fatal Links to drop right in, and then, of course, combo with the real world manipulation and have Zien run around towards the back line. But it's been pretty slippery for them to even get a grasp onto how to catch out this Claude. He's just farming his way out, got the golden stuff. Now they find the pick.
Yeah, as a flicker into Bloody Hunt, Jirachi uses the vengeance. Oh boy!
What?
Oh, gets out! And meanwhile, they just lost the glue. Cavs, oh, he wants to get out, but real world manipulation is there, stunned up. A backflip to style on him. Cavs is also gone, and this is Lord for ALVA 8.
Just clean executions coming in all too well, and the rest of ALVA 8. They still have to worry about the map pressure coming in. They did get that turret over on top end, and they will just basically give some space. ALVA 8, they're going to be running away with Lord. No pressure given from the side of Sway Esports, and perhaps this could turn things around.
Yeah, absolutely, and you see that Joy finally being able to acquire some of that freedom to do whatever she pleases. Sway Esports, if that commitment can't take out Jirachi, you have a bit of a problem on your hands. And ALVA 8 for the first time in this game takes the lead. Lord in hand, a bit of that goal advantage. And Sway Esports, you gotta be a bit more careful. Break Even, committing to a second item immortality. He knows that, sure, you know, he is the one that's gonna isolate members from ALVA 8, but if he gets isolated, he completely loses his effectiveness.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, as ALVA 8 is currently going with this form of commitment where you're just splitting across the map with a 1-4 setup, and with the Lord as a +1, you're just getting more of these turrets up ahead. Sway Esports could not really find the 5v5 that they desire, even though, sure, you can catch one out with break even, but we can basically force and shove every single part of the lane. And now, I guess, in return, they've only got one turret thus far. Half damage being done towards the top turret, and now we're looking at Vinsmoke hoping for a catch.
Thankfully, Cavs is a Martis, so he's not worried at all. They're trying to get this tier 2 mid, BUTWHY. Forced away by Jirachi. ALVA 8, only good for one tier 2 thus far with that Lord. He got the bottom one, so Sway Esports still holding up pretty solid.
But it definitely is pretty risky for them to even defend this tier 2 turret over the top side. Vinsmoke just gating his way out, just forcing a little bit of a challenge coming in, and I believe that ALVA 8, they still find themselves a little bit more of that wiggle room and as well as advantage. More than a minute from now on, there is going to be a priority of a setup on towards that bottom side of the river where you look at the rest of Sway Esports. They're already shoving that wave in, drawing a little bit more attention coming out of ALVA 8 in hopes that they will be able to respond in kind. And Sway holding themselves back, and as the game progresses, I feel like the scaling will eventually fall off for the Smartest, for the Franco even. So a lot of tension now being built up, especially Lufscars need to find that perfect timing to blow that blazing duet upon majority of ALVA 8.
Break Even now has a even, bigger responsibility. Can you get those dream hooks? They will try again onto Jirachi. This time they have 3 members. Well, they're gonna put Claude out as a bait, but you gotta make the move fast though. ZN, he's already doing so much damage. Caps! Oh, you cannot fight that. Force to pop an ultimate just to kill a shadow.
Oh.
They're gonna try and Jirachi though, suppress again. Jirachi vengeance, and that's it. The Atlas. Oh, the blazing duet is not enough. Oh, let's got Page with blood. Break Even also going down to immortality, bringing him back for another prolonged dab. BUTWHY has to leave, and that's the second time they cannot get rid of the joy.
My goodness, Sway Esports, he got no business doing over there. And this was the perfect time as well for ALVA 8 to be able to get those pickoffs. The Lord now being left available. Now Sway has only got 3 members to work with. Here comes full force swinging. And Horosky will be the first one that they'll be eyeing on.
Can they at least equalize the playing field? It's a tall task. Feather Airstrike is there. Keep CN away from BUTWHY, and they do just that. They get rid of Vinsmoke. They prevent Lord attempt, at least for now. Horosky will be forced to retreat, but most important thing is ALVA 8 do not get the Lord.
Just look at how even this matchup has become. We see Sway Esports taking the lead initially. ALVA 8 equalized, took the very first Lord. And now both sides really stand a chance. It's only 1,000 difference between the two.
Oh my goodness.
And he's looking for break even. We'll be able to pull back with the shadows, and Jirachi's still chasing in.
Oh, they found his body. What? Oh, Kev found his body, but can you get out in time? I mean, Lufscar, you gotta save him. Blazing duet. Arashiki backflips out of there. And Cavs, he's so low. Jirachi hunting for him, and Jirachi finds him. Meanwhile, BUTWHY has found Arashiki, but can you get out? I mean, the Farsa locked down and just individual kills across the map. And it's ALVA 8 with the numbers advantage. Now Lufscar has a lot to do, but he has Jirachi on his tail, able to port back. Jirachi is still trying to catch up to him. Lufscar, you don't have anything left. Ultimate uses the flicker as well. The glowing one burning him down. They use the conceal with that movement speed, and
outplay!
The Houdini from Lufscars.
What a move coming in from Lufscars, but despite that, the rest of ALVA 8 still couldn't find a window of opportunity to secure this Lord. And what a massive outplay. They draw attention, they threw bodies, and they scattered these fights just to buy more and more time and space.
Yeah, MVP individual plays. You love to see that every now and then. Cavs finding the body of Zien. BUTWHY sniping Arashiki, and now Sway Esports. They take initiative. On that Lord they go. Lufscar still needs time. He's stacking up. That skill, Horosky taking a bunch of damage. He's brought back by the Fatal Links. He just does not have enough health. The Lord recess as well. Disaster for Sway Esports.
One member down. Can they pull off another fight that does favor them? While you look at the top wave, it's also being shoved aside, and members of the side of Sway Esports dealing with immense pressure. Break even is not allowed any form of space. ALVA 8 secures the Lord.
And just one pickup. I mean, Harovsky, he was trying to make space, but I don't think Sway Esports were ready for that. And Lovescar wasn't even close to the fight. And you always have to be careful. You might be a glue, but Vinsmoke, he locks you down regardless. It's an Atlas. This Lord is going to cause massive damage to Sway Esports space.
Yeah, and we look at Sway Esports' damage numbers, it's only enough to burst perhaps 1 or 2 within a certain window of time frame, and then you have this extended fight where Alpha 8 just tries having Zian just shredding them alongside with the Brody. So it definitely is a tad difficult now that you see Brody scaling into effect, and now pressure's on, and they dive in!
And that's a flicker into a fatal link. Jirachi straight to the back line, locked down underneath the crystal, gets bursted. But he has the immortality, real world manipulation, forcing BUTWHY now to counter-attack with a feather airstrike. Oh, they get rid of Jirachi. The Lord is gonna go down as well. Good defense for Sway Esports. Harovsky puts his body right in front, but Arashiki is doing massive damage. Watch out for this Brody. Break even can get through, and Lovescar will have to abandon post as well.
So much of pressure onto Sway Esports, and yet again they held on to dear alive. Only losing 1 inhibitor is the best case scenario, and they also managed to catch out Jirachi. Just understanding what was at stake at that moment. And Alpha 8 doesn't seem that they have a clear line of sight to be able to even find those picks, and this is where Sway Esports look for a catch!
Oh, and the flicker forward into a bloody hunt. Arashiki, you gotta go, and Harovsky right on the money. Lovescar comes in with the dance, the blazing duet. Only getting rid of Zian's immortality, but can Cass find a decimate? Yes, just in time. They get rid of the 2 main cores from Alpha, and now it's Jirachi's turn to make an impact. Break even, good iron hook, and now BUTWHY the damage. Almost taking down Vinsmoke. Oh, he's so close. So Esports finding some signs of life in this match. Jirachi wants to look for the Farsa, can't find it.
This is the best series that we have so far here in these rounds. And we just love to see it extend all the way to the late game. It's already hitting the 18-minute mark. How many more Lords does it actually take? And Sway Esports just kept finding those windows to equalize. And currently, all these numbers of gold might not even matter anymore until this Farsa completes the very final item. And perhaps that's the final power spike that they're looking for.
Yeah, just got the Genius one as well. 25 seconds until the next Lord spawns. Make or break time. Jirachi, he's setting up that bottom wave. We've seen what Sway Esports did with that Joy in the previous game. Definitely acutely aware of this part. Give that purple buff over to BUTWHY. He'll need it.
This is the final Lord that will dictate the pace, perhaps, depending on who actually gets a shot at this. And will definitely take a while before they could basically wither down the health bars. Sway Esports having this Franco on the watch. And look at the world of waves now crashing in. Vinsmoke looking for the catch.
Harovsky, he does not have the flicker. Not in the position he wants to be in, but he actually was able to stick himself onto Alva A's front line. The blading duet comes through. Oh, they found him. They found Arashiki. Oh, Harovsky, what a mad lad. You have served your purpose, but he has immortality. They might not be able to kill him. Jirachi, can you do enough? Into the backline he goes, and down he goes as well. They get Zian's body, but Zian is in the front line. That's not where he wants to be. Real manipulation, that's going to buy a bit of time. He is ruled down. Lovescar is treading forward into danger territory, but BUTWHY is not done just yet. Feather airstrike to zone Alpha 8 out. Sway Esports back in the game.
And this is just perfect. Setups coming in. Sway Esports baited them into that trap, and they just fell short. And we saw, remember, even he had the immortality up online. They chose to focus fire him down, and he stayed on alive for far too long. Sway Esports found their way back, and now the tides will turn. Alpha 8 held onto that momentum for the longest time, controlling all his waves, and now Sway gets an even playing field and even reap more rewards out of that. It's just ridiculous how well BUTWHY has been able to pull off those sick bursts of damage coming with the feathered airstrike.
It is such a disaster, right? They wanted to burst Harovsky. The idea is there. He didn't have flicker. He pops the space, but he sticks onto Vinsmoke, who by coincidence was beside Arashiki, and they both get dragged back. What an unfortunate turn event, and because there is the purple buff for the far side, he BUTWHY got to use Feather Airstrike 2 times in that small sequence. And
Yeah.
now the pendulum has definitely swung in favor of Sway.
And now how are they actually supposed to clear off that lure, just marching in the way, and just this push and pull pressure coming into effect. Vinsmoke did purchase a Immortality into this upcoming battle, so he can play a little bit more aggressive. So long as they can find that opening window, get Illura to land the perfect real-world manipulation, and that might just be the cue to call. Now pressure is on, Sway Esports shoving all sides.
Side lanes under attack, top one is gone. Zian cannot hold it. The bottom lane though, still holding on, but just barely. So Esports, can you get more out of this? The fact that they got the top one is an equalizer. Break even, in danger. Jirachi on top of him. Vinsmoke has found him, but they are all isolated. Vinsmoke able to drag Break even back. This is a scattered fight. Watch out for BUTWHY. She is still untouched. And after all of that, they cannot get any kills, but Jirachi, he's looking for Love Scar, and Love Scar again just pulls a magic trick. And now Jirachi walk down in the fray of Sway Esports Immortality.
The recommit!
And now the recommit is there. Real manipulation, break even, forced to go away. Caps waiting for the opportunity. Haroski, can he stay alive? He cannot. Taken down by Aaron Shiki.
What a catch, and every member stayed alive. Ridiculous effort being displayed coming in from Jirachi with those heroics, doing it all alone. And now Sway Esports is just chased all the way back. They have to go in for this reset. How many Lords has it been? Oh my goodness gracious. We're going for the 4th Lord.
Yeah, it is the 4th Lord. And we get a pause, of course, just for a bit of that cinematic. We need a breather just in time for us to collect our thoughts. But the next Lord is going to be up just as Haroski respawns.
This series is probably the longest running match with both sides really taking their strategies to a whole nother level as well. Like, do you expect Jirachi to really call the shot, go diving deep into looking for a pick, and he actually gets one in return? And after that, bought enough time, and that setup coming in, you saw that real-world manipulation that clipped onto 3 members. And that was that golden ticket. They just revived their hopes and dreams once more. And we just love to see it. This really feels like it's already the Challenge Grand Finals.
Absolutely. I mean, you have both Zien and Jirachi really trying to find those backline access. As beefy as the front lines of Sway Esports are, you do get shredded by the Hanzo, right? He is absolutely stacked. And finding his real body is not going to be easy, right? He was, fished out once, but that was the only time that it happened. I mean, Sway Esports, they have one more shot, right? They have both side lane inhibitors taken out. They can shove in their side wave. They can set up for the Lord Pit, but it's going to be tight.
This is really tough to call. I mean, whatever the prediction that we put in, like, by now, I'll be happy if any one of these guys won because they really fought tooth and nail for this. Like, they understood what their draft is capable of, and even despite now hitting in the late game, you still see Break Even positioning really smartly to be able to at least contribute in essence where, by now, this Franco doesn't really have the high kill pressure, especially when everybody's got Immortality, whoever you hook next, really has to be that value pick. And I think, like, this is what Sway Esports is currently struggling with.
And on top of the Immortality, well, Immortality actually, I believe you actually sold it, got the Winter Trunking instead, just so much better. Instead of, going down and reviving, now you get to really buy time with that invulnerability. So I love the adjustments. A bit more damage, a bit more survivability on top of that.
It's been so many fights that went on. And they just trade so evenly. We saw even on the second Lord where they're going in for that goose chase. They even traded blow for blow, and we saw maybe one team with only one extra member standing in the way. Aaron Shaky with the Brody brings in Immortality just in the nick of time. And perhaps this may just be it. Roski looking and prodding. That's only going to be Vinsmoke. Not too much pressure going on. Cavs having a little bit of initiative to bring a quarter of HP down coming in from the Lord.
Surely they see this, right? Surely they know this is happening.
Vince should know.
Vinsmoke is right there. His team isn't there. Jirachi.
Are they really going to give way though?
They are not in position. This is cutting it really close. Cavs. Oh, Cavs, he might clear in time. Zian, he's showing up. The Claude and the Franco are not there just yet. They pull off from the Lord. They're waiting for Zen's ultimate to run now. Meanwhile, Horowski, he's putting his body in front right now. He's ready to commit his life. They're looking for the real body! Oh, they were looking for Zen, but the Fatal Link isn't enough to hold this game for ALVA 8. It might be, but they have lost Zen. That was the plan all along. They were baiting for the Hanzo to show up, and they go straight for his mortal body. Love Scar gone on by Jirachi. He's trying to survive, but he has the immortality. He can buy a bit of time. Backup is there. Can Jirachi get rid of the Claude? He does a bit more, and yes, he can. Now Jirachi needs to survive, needs to get out.
Jirachi is still surviving though. He's being stuck upon as Horowski just pulls away. And now all the attention being given. 3 more members still left surviving, but they really have to contend. There's still Break Even shoving the wave over a mid side, and that will be attended by Jirachi.
Yeah.
And now Vinsmoke, eyes on the prize. Blade of Despair now being bought, but there's just so much on the death timers. I don't think they have enough. Can they make it in time to have a miraculous steal? There's no retribution online for ALVA 8.
20 seconds, 15 seconds. So eSport running it down. Cavs so close. Barbie committing the Feather Asteroid just to bring this Lord as low and as fast as possible. Jirachi has to be shown now. Can you be the hero? He needs a hero! Oh, Eliora! Unbelievable! How did you do that?
It stole it right through the noses, and Eliora gives ALVA 8 a breath of fresh air in such a dangerous situation. And how did Sway Esports let that one slip through their hands, making the impossible happen? And now, Sway Esports, despite having the advantages, they let it slip away.
This game is not ending. We go again. Lord number 4 of this decider match. I wouldn't have it any other way. Break even. Gotta get out right now. Slow down. Vinsmoke on top of him. There is no support for Break Even. He needs to buy time. And I mean, look at where Love Scar is. He is so far away. Break Even. He's gonna lose the immortality. And Eliora brought down low, but not low enough. Horowski now switches place with the Franco. They're trying to chase him down, but the game is done. The Lord doing the deed. ALVA 8 pulling it back from the brink of absolute defeat. This is a victory worth celebrating.
And the hero that has done it all with the biggest clutch factor of it all, Eliora, gets the game in return for ALVA 8 to demolish any form more of chance for Sway Esports. And we see them having that advantage. There were 2 members down.
There was no retribution from ALVA 8. The jungler got baited. You know